Do you ever find yourself distracted in the middle of a task? Or do you have certain things on your to-do list that keep moving from one day to the next, from one week to the next? Or do you sometimes finish work feeling exhausted because it's been a busy day, but you don't have much to show for it? If you answered yes to any of the questions, then you're in for a treat, because in today's video, I'm sharing with you 5 of my favorite productivity tips that you probably haven't heard of before. They're not your typical kind of advice. They're a bit quirky, a bit fun. So stick around to listen to those, and make sure you listen for the last one because it's my very favorite one. Hi, I'm Muna from Inside Out with Muna, where I help you build and grow your online business and your personal brand. If you're new here and you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like to get notified every week when I release a new video. Now, I used to believe that productivity is about getting all the things done. And I used to feel proud of myself and reward myself on the days that I described as busy. I thought busy meant productive, until I started realizing that just simply knocking things off the list wasn't necessarily getting me anywhere closer to my goals. And I realized that productivity is not about doing all of the things, but rather about doing the right things and staying focused during these important things. So now I stopped wearing this busyness as a badge of honor, as people say. I no longer reward myself for those days. In fact, I reward myself on the days where I work less, but I feel more productive because I've worked on the things that matter most. And I want the same for you. So let's start with the first tip. The first tip is to listen to focus music while you're working. So a few years ago, I was in the middle of writing something and I was just so stuck. You know those days when you're blocked and the words were just not coming, and I was desperate. So I went on YouTube and I typed in focus music for work. And guess what? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. And I started listening to this music as I was working. Initially, I thought it wasn't going to work because I usually sing along. And especially if there's lyrics with the music, there's no way I can concentrate and type and think if there's music and words and lyrics playing. But this type of music was different. Now, full disclosure, I've been doing this for years and I've been telling people to do it, and it's worked for a lot of people, but I've never actually done the research to find out why this works until now, because I wanted to share it with you guys. So I Googled it, and you are welcome to do the same. And one of the coolest things I found is that our brain waves get synchronized with the sound waves around us. And that's why some types of music or sounds make us feel more anxious, while others make us feel calm. It's because of the sound waves that get interpreted into our brains and match the brain waves. So when you're listening to this kind of music, which kind of improves cognitive abilities and creativity and all of these things, it helps you stay focused and feel more creative. A few days ago, my daughter, who's only 7 years old, stayed home from school and I had so much work to do. She came and sat with me in my office, and for 25 minutes, she didn't say anything. She was reading her book, she finished that, and she started coloring without interrupting me, not even once, for 25 minutes. Why? Because I had the focus music playing. It works like magic. Try it out. Just go on YouTube, focus music for work, for study, for whatever, and just listen, and I promise you, you're gonna see an improvement in your productivity. Tip number 2 is to make your goals about your actions, not about your results. Now, one of the reasons that we don't feel motivated to do work and to be productive is because we feel like the goal is so far away and so unachievable. And that's usually because this goal that we have in mind is not something that's within our control. So I could have a goal of growing my audience to 100,000 followers on Instagram, and right now I have 10,000. If every day I look at this goal and I'm so far away from it, I will feel demotivated. What if instead my goal becomes posting consistently 4 times a week on Instagram? That becomes my goal, my action, which will then lead to the 100,000 followers and beyond. When I'm focused on what I'm doing, what I can control, I feel more in control. And when you're more in control, you're more motivated to be productive and to be focused on what you're doing because you feel like you're actually doing what you promised yourself you would do. Productivity tip number 3 is to stop making writing mistakes. Now, because I do a lot of writing in my work, and you probably do the same, whether you notice it or not, it's emails, it's writing scripts, it's writing content, it's writing captions, it's everything is words, everything is writing. And one of the things that happens when we write is we make mistakes because your brain sometimes thinks faster than your fingers, whether you're typing or you're writing. And sometimes you end up missing words. And even if you look at it, you're not able to see these mistakes because our brain fills in the gaps. So, again, a few years ago, I wanted to make sure, because it was going to be published in a magazine, that there were no typos, no mistakes, nothing in the article that I was writing. So I discovered this cool thing in Word, in Microsoft Word. So you write whatever you want to write, whatever you want to publish, and then you go to File, Review, and then Read Aloud. When you do that, the computer will read your text to you. Now here's how you make this work for you. As the computer is reading to you, turn your face and don't look at the screen, because you will catch the mistakes when you hear them. If there's an extra S, if there's a missing the, if there's I don't know, whatever it is, you will hear it before you see it. This has saved me so much time and so many embarrassing mistakes, and I just love it. Try it out and it'll make your writing things so much more productive. I absolutely love it. Productivity tip number 4 is to create a loop list. What is a loop list? Now, remember those tasks that we talked about earlier in the video where I asked you if you have certain things on your to-do list that move from day to day and week to week? We all have those, by the way. Now, most of the time, these tasks, if they've been moving around from week to week, from month to month, most probably you can get rid of them, completely delete, forget about it, because clearly they're not that important. But for the tasks that are important, maybe they don't have a deadline, maybe they don't have a numerical, I don't know, metric kind of attached to it. Maybe they won't bring you in anything, but it's important that you do them. These tasks need to get done somehow. A loop list is basically something that you take out of your to-do list. You create a list on its own that has all of these items that have been, procrastinated and delayed for a few weeks or a few months. Now, the cool thing is you choose 1 hour a week, choose any day of the week, where you say, during this hour, I'm going to start knocking things off from the loop list. So throughout your week, you're working from your planner and from your daily task list. But one day during the week, you have 1 hour to go through all of the things that were on that list, and you start one by one. So call your cousin, fix the About Me page on your website, update your bio on Instagram. These small things that kept moving and moving and moving take just 1 hour a week, and you don't need to do more than that. If within the hour you didn't finish everything on that list, that's fine, because it's a loop list and it can loop until next week, until the next time you sit down to do that. It feels good to do it because you are not dropping these important things, but at the same time, they're not taking so much time from your day to day, and they're not distracting you in the middle of what you're doing, because you know you're going to get to it in that 1 hour a week that you've allocated to it. And tip number 5 is to change all of your passwords on your, your email, your apps, your phone. When you unlock it, we use passwords everywhere. And most of the time when we pick these passwords, we're not really thoughtful about what words we should use. We put in whatever we're thinking of, my birthday, where I was born, whatever, different things. Maybe your kids' names, which is nice. But how about you start choosing passwords that have a positive vibration to them? Words have energy and they have power. And certain words have higher vibration than other words. Words like abundance, like success, like flourishing, like happiness. These words, if they become your passwords, the first few times you type them, the first week maybe, you're going to be aware of it every single time you type it. But then it's gonna become automatic, like all the other passwords you have right now. The cool thing though is while your conscious mind is no longer aware of the typing and of the thinking, your subconscious mind is still listening and is still noticing. And it is what's helping you type this without thinking on autopilot. And because these words are positive, it's sending positive messages to you. So whether you're aware of it or not, typing this password multiple times a day. I don't know about you, I open and close my laptop at least 4, 5, sometimes 6 times a day. So 6 times a day, I'm typing in a word that means so much to me, a word that is so filled with possibilities and hope. And that makes me feel better. And when you feel better, guess what happens? You become more productive. So this is a simple way of attracting what you want in your life and at the same time being more productive. How cool is this tip? And here's a bonus tip for you. If you are someone who speaks publicly, who runs workshops, who runs presentations, who has a public speaking opportunity coming up, it's something that I came up with a few years ago. Also, I was living in Dubai. I had a session, a presentation to give in Abu Dhabi, and there wasn't going to be any slides or anything, so I had to remember my notes and whatever I wanted to say. And I didn't want to be reading from a paper. I just wanted to say it. And it was around 12 or 13 minutes was the time that I was given. So I recorded myself on my phone reading the speech with emotion, everything. Like the script was written and I read it. And then for a week leading up to that presentation, I would listen to this all the time. Like I'd be driving in the car, I'll listen to it twice. I'll pick up my daughter from school, drop her off somewhere and listen again. I'll listen while I'm cooking. I'll listen while I'm walking, just to get it stuck in my subconscious mind. And you know what happens? Because you've listened to it so many times and you've listened to it in your own voice, it really gets absorbed. And then what I do right before giving a speech, because now I've been doing this for years, is I say to myself, I trust you, subconscious mind, I trust you, Muna, to remember what you need to say. Because you've listened to it so many times, you know this, you've created this, you've listened to it. Such a cool way of remembering what you want to say. Maybe this is my favorite tip. I don't know, I love all the tips. I hope you enjoyed them too. I know they're a bit funny, quirky, different, but they really, really do work. Try them out and let me know what you think in the comments. But before you leave, I have a special gift for you, just to say thank you for being part of the Inside Out community, for being here with me and for listening and for learning and for engaging. And as a thank you, I have a free training for you. Your first or your next $1,000 in your online business, even if you don't have a huge social media following. This is my 5-step process to creating and generating consistent income in your coaching business and your online business. It's so simple to follow. The people who have attended this free training so far have absolutely loved it. So to get instant access to this training, click on the link underneath this video and you will receive the training directly to your inbox. I hope you enjoy it. Can't wait to hear from you. And thank you for being here. See you next week.